Welcome into the Sharp Sports YouTube podcast. My name is Andrew Sharp. We'll be talking everything Denver sports and beyond. Please like and subscribe if you are a sports fan like me. Let's do this. Welcome into the Sharp Sports YouTube podcast. My name is Andrew Sharp. Thanks for joining me. While the Denver Broncos fall 41-10 in Baltimore to the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday, Baltimore is an excellent team. They are an elite team in the AFC. I did not pick the Broncos to win this game before the season. I did not pick the Broncos to win this game on my midseason pod, and I would not pick the Broncos to win this game unless they went back to the Peyton Manning era. So Baltimore has been an unbelievable team at home. In the Ray Lewis era previously and now the Lamar Jackson era, they are an offensive juggernaut at home. They are very hard to beat. So this loss was expected. It was competitive in the first half, but once you get the Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson running downhill, big play offense going, and you don't respond on offense by scoring any points with them, it's very, very difficult to compete in that environment. The only team that's actually really managed to win a significant game in Baltimore, of course, is the reigning Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs, who went to Baltimore a mere 10 months ago and won an AFC title game in Baltimore. So only the elite of the elite are beating Baltimore in Baltimore. This was a real litmus test for the Broncos, and they found out where they stand, which is they're an improving team. They're a middle-of-the-road team. They're not a top 10 worst team anymore, but they're not at the class of Baltimore. They're just not. And I'm okay with that. They're a young team. This Baltimore team has been building on this for a number of seasons. And we're going to talk about where the Ravens have been as a true AFC contender ever since Lamar Jackson arrived in Baltimore. I know where credit is due. Credit is due to the Baltimore Ravens, who've been arguably the best regular season team in the last 5 years. Lamar Jackson has been the best regular season quarterback. He has 2 MVPs. He's been outstanding. And he's doing it all basically when the main complaint about Baltimore was that they didn't have enough offensive weapons around him when they really had tight end Mark Andrews and a few other ancillary pieces. But now that they have Zay Flowers and Derrick Henry, they're unbelievable. Lamar Jackson and his passing yards. Since he came into the league, I'm going to throw out his rookie year in which he only played 9 games, and he was really more of a running quarterback than a throwing quarterback, but he has improved his running quite a bit. In the 79 games that he has started, granted he's missed some due to injury, he has 58 wins and 21 losses for a winning percentage of 73%. So he wins 73% of every game that he starts in the NFL. An amazing mark. He has a 65.4 completion percentage. So anyone who says he can't throw, they're not doing the research. 65% completion percentage over a 5-year span is amazing. This is one that I really kind of blew my mind. He has 139 touchdowns to only 44 interceptions. So he's a 3.15 touchdown to interception ratio. Super good. He has 44 interceptions after 2,197 attempts. 2% of the time he throws an interception. There are a lot of quarterbacks who've won a lot of games, who've even hosted Super Bowls, who have way more interceptions than that. Way more. So if he's only throwing you a pick on 2% of the passes, that means not only is he producing it at a high level, but he's not turning the ball over, which means you're really playing from behind, as the Broncos found out on Sunday. He averages, down the field passing, he averages 7.8 yards per completion. He's throwing the ball down the field. This is not dink and dunk. This is big boy offense. This is throwing the ball down the field to downfield targets. His average quarterback rating in these games that he started is 101.7, which is excellent. He has 9 fourth quarter comebacks and 10 game-winning drives and 2 MVPs. Lamar Jackson, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh, and by the way, he can run the ball too if you need him to. Even though he doesn't have to anymore, he still has elite speed. He basically he averages around 1,000 yards rushing per season and about 6 touchdowns since he got in the league. So he can beat you with his arms and his legs. Doesn't really matter. So, all in all of that, the Baltimore Ravens went out this offseason and got a Hall of Fame player who was available on the market, and they went and got him, named Derrick Henry, otherwise known as King Henry. King Henry is unbelievable. He not only was a great player at Alabama, but he's actually breaking NFL records. So, I had to look this up. Derrick Henry became the 10th NFL player in NFL history with 100 career rushing touchdowns. Only 10 guys have done that. He also became the only player in NFL history with a touchdown in each of his first 9 games with the team. So, brand new team, Baltimore Ravens, no problem. Just hand him the ball. First 9 games, he's good for at least 1 touchdown. His 21st career game with 100 yards and 2 or more rushing touchdowns ties Emmitt Smith for third as such games in NFL history. Only Jim Brown and LaDainian Tomlinson have more, and they were both at 25. So he could actually break both of their records this season. This is his 26th career game with 2 rushing touchdowns, the 4th most in NFL history behind LaDainian Tomlinson, Emmitt Smith, Adrian Peterson, and the great Jim Brown. He is he's on pace to be the 4th player in the Super Bowl era since 1966 to lead the NFL in carries, rush yards, yards per carry, rushing scores in the same season. The only people to do this are Earl Campbell, Walter Payton, and O.J. Simpson. So we're talking about a Baltimore offense, at least from the Derrick Henry perspective as well, that could be not only dominant, historic. So this is the year that the Baltimore Ravens, quite frankly, should win a Super Bowl. This is it. If they don't win it this year, especially if they get any kind of home field advantage in the playoffs, granted the Chiefs are undefeated, they might have to go to Kansas City. This Baltimore team, especially with their run game and controlling the ball, has as good a shot as any to dethrone the Chiefs. This is the year that they should win a Super Bowl in Baltimore. I'm talking so much about the Ravens today because the Ravens are where the Broncos want to be. It's where they want to be. The Ravens are a gold standard in the league. Since Lamar Jackson has been there, they have made the playoffs 5 of the 6 years that he has been the starter. I presume they're going to make it this year at 6-3. And the only year that they didn't make it was in 2021 when Lamar Jackson had an off year because he was injured. They still finished 8-9. So their worst record as a team the last 6 years is about as good as the Broncos' best season post Super Bowl. So, and by the way, that year they went 8-9. They started 6-2. They were well on their way to the playoffs. Lamar gets hurt, and their season goes off the rails because he missed the last 5 games. 2 injured. It happens. They ended up losing to Pittsburgh in the last overtime, and they still finished above the Broncos in the AFC that year, who were 7-10. The Broncos were there. So their bad year off year is as good as the Broncos have been in any season the last 5 to 6 years. Okay? In summary, it's all about January for this team. The Broncos will be fine. They'll lick their wounds. Remember, this is a team that lost 70-20 to the Miami Dolphins a year ago. Okay? And no one's talking about that much now because their defense has been much improved. But I wanted to go back and Baltimore. They've had some bad playoff losses. This is the year they should rectify this. In 2018, Lamar's rookie year, they were a 4-seed division winner, lost in the wild card round to an old Phillip Rivers team and Chargers. Lamar's rookie year, somewhat understandable. 2019, this is the one. Lamar wins his first MVP. They went 14-2. They were the number 1 seed, clearly the best team in the NFL, and they lost at home to the Tennessee Titans. That was a bad one. 2020, they went 11-5, made it as the top wild card in the AFC, went on to get revenge against the Tennessee Titans, who I just mentioned, from the previous divisional round loss, and then unfortunately had a very bad game in Buffalo where the postseason narrative about Lamar Jackson started as they lost 17-3 in Buffalo, and Lamar, quite frankly, was terrible. 2021, as I previously discussed, they went 8-9, missed the playoffs. Lamar was hurt. 2022, 10-7, wild card again, lost to the Bengals. Joe Burrow ended up going to the Super Bowl. They were Cincinnati was a Super Bowl team in that time. 2023 finished 13-4, finished as the 1 seed, only team of the bye with the new NFL playoff format with 7 teams. Beat the Texans easily and then lost to the Chiefs at home in a game that was quite rough for Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. So it's Super Bowl or bust for this team. It's it. They got to get over the hump being the Kansas City Chiefs, which is everybody's bugaboo at the moment. But this team should definitely make an AFC title game, which the Broncos are just not at that level. So in all that, they've made 1 title game appearance in the AFC and no Super Bowls. So it's time for Baltimore to, somebody who follows the Broncos, I wouldn't mind if the Baltimore Ravens unseat the Kansas City Chiefs this year. But this is the year to do it. The team is relatively healthy. Derrick Henry is amazing. And if anyone can dethrone the Chiefs, it is this team. As the Denver Broncos continue to try to improve throughout the 2024 season, they decided to part ways with pass rusher Baron Browning, 3rd round pick of the Broncos in 2021. He's been okay. He's been hurt a lot. I don't think the Broncos are going to re-sign him, which is why they probably talked to him and said, hey, what do you want to do? Where would you like to go? What can we get for you? He has no memorable plays. I don't really remember a memorable Baron Browning moment. He only played 10 games last year. He's only played 5 games this year. He has 4 sacks over those basically 2 years. You can't re-sign a guy when he's only getting 4 sacks. He's supposed to be a pass rusher. 4 sacks over a couple seasons is nominal at best. So they made a move. They went ahead and signed Jonathan Cooper to a new 4-year extension, which I'm good with. Jonathan Cooper has been a very good player. He's been, from all accounts, a very hard worker, wants to be in the building, and give him the deal, give him the bag. I'm good with that. They were going to have to make a decision on Baron Browning. I didn't see them extending Baron Browning, so you might as well get something for him. Reason why I bring up this, Sean Payton's not waiting around, and I think it's great. He's not waiting around. If you produce, you're on the team. If you don't, we'll move on without you. Which means there are 2 guys on offense with this philosophy who should be on high alert. They either produce or they're done. This definitely goes out for a Sean Payton guy, little Jordan Humphrey. Catch the ball. Catch the ball, Jordan. It's your only job. Bo Nix's first interception of the game, which really ended up not damaging the Broncos too bad in this. It really didn't have an effect on the final outcome, but it definitely killed the Broncos' first drive. Pass hit him right in the hands. Hit him right in the hands. And it gets tipped, gets intercepted. Yes, that'll be a stat against Bo Nix. That's not on Bo Nix. The pass was slightly ahead of him, but it hit him. If the pass hits you in the hands, you catch the ball. That is your job. So I'm kind of over little Jordan Humphrey. He's a Sean Payton guy, so they're going to give him every chance in the world to make this work. But he's on the clock. He's on the clock. Either produce, catch the ball, or be done. Because I'm just kind of over it. Another Sean Payton guy, first guy drafted in the Sean Payton era, Marvin Mims. Marvin Mims isn't doing anything right now. I mean, it's just not working. He was one of my guys to look for. I really thought he would be Sean Payton's gadget guy. I don't know. He's playing through 9 games. He has 15 targets. He has 7 receptions, so he's averaging less than 1 catch per game. 1 catch per game. He has a catch percentage of 46%, which is awful. Awful. And he has 1 end around that he showed up on, I remember it, against the Raiders, where he had one nice little end around play that got 17 yards. Other than that, he's a non-factor. So 2 players on the trade watch, and I don't really, quite frankly, unfortunately, I don't think they have a lot of trade value. But the Broncos need to find some offensive pieces that can produce, because Bo Nix, a lot of the stuff that happened on Sunday, Bo Nix played fine. But you saw the lack of playmakers. It was the Courtland Sutton show. Courtland Sutton played amazing. Courtland Sutton showed up to play. Everybody else pretty much took a vacation. So, I mean, Bo Nix has more receiving touchdowns than Marvin Mims at this point, which is insane to think about. So 2 players on the watch. It's time to put up or shut up. I understand that the narrative has been about the Bronco defense that gave up 41 points to the Ravens. It's a fair narrative. The Broncos have played some fairly pedestrian to bad teams, which padded a bit of their defensive stats. But this is the modern NFL. You have to score points to win games. You are not going to hold high-powered offenses like the Ravens to anything less than about 24 points, 25 points. That's their average. If they have a good day, they're going to score 31 on you, 41 on you. So you have to score points. Everyone can malign the defense. The defense did not have a good day by any means. Pat Surtain did not have a good day. But this is the modern NFL. You have to actually score points with other teams that are going to really put the ball in the air. And after tight ends week, where we had some production from that position for the first time in a while against the dreadful Panthers, I should say. Now we're back to the same old story for the tight end position with the Denver Broncos. Adam Troutman had 1 target, 1 reception, 4 yards. Lucas Kroll had 1 target, no receptions for 0 yards. So we're back to basically 0 tight end production. Again, I would have traded. I don't think they're going to do it this year, unfortunately. I would have placed a call for David Njoku from the Cleveland Browns. I still don't think the Browns are going anywhere. They got destroyed again this Sunday. I understand they had 1 false hope game against the Ravens the previous week. The Browns are not a good football team. I would make a move for tight end because the Broncos' lack of production is appalling, and a tight end really helps your young quarterback develop as a guy he can dump the ball off to. Ask Patrick Mahomes. He just played a game last night where he's still finding old man Travis Kelce all over the field. So Broncos, get a tight end that can catch some balls for your young starting quarterback. Up next, the Denver Broncos head to Kansas City to play the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions Kansas City Chiefs, who just defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in overtime at home on Monday Night Football. So this is the NFL. Doesn't stop. It's a week-to-week league. You got to be ready to play. Kansas City had to play a late game and overtime Monday night. Maybe they're a little tired. Maybe they overlooked the Broncos. Maybe they have a bit of a letdown after such an emotional win. So maybe the Broncos can catch them off just a little bit when they go to Kansas City on Sunday. No one's going to feel bad for you. It's one game. Don't get wrapped up in one game losing big in Baltimore. Watch the film. Work harder. Try to correct the mistakes and move on. This is still a young, developing Bronco team. They're not an elite team yet. Never pick them to win in Baltimore. Winning in Kansas City will be just as difficult. I'm not going to pick them to win in Kansas City. But show the Chiefs a game, correct your mistakes, play better offense. We'll see how it goes. This is all about response for the Broncos. How do you respond to a bad loss? Do you put your head down and work harder and try to improve? Or do you feel sorry for yourself? I don't think this Bronco team is there yet. I think they're young and hungry. And Sean Payton knows what mistakes were made, what to correct. So I look forward to the Broncos putting forth a good effort in Kansas City. This was going to be 2 of the hardest games on the Broncos schedule, at Baltimore, at Kansas City, in back-to-back weeks. So we're going to find out. I'll be pleasantly surprised if the Broncos win. It would be a great win for them. A division road win is never to be taken for granted. Ask the Patriots. They used to go to Miami all the time in their dynasty and lose in Miami to the Dolphins. So on the road divisional game is tough. But I think the Broncos can respond to this loss. Anyways, my name is Andrew Sharp. Sharp Sports 82 YouTube podcast. Thanks for tuning in. And I look forward to talking to you next time after the Broncos head to Kansas City to play Chiefs. Thanks a lot.